Welcome to Last Dawn Stories channel. My dad is good-looking and kind-hearted, a well-known good person in the community. When the extreme cold weather arrived, my dad gave away the few supplies he had to others generously. My mom and I were both cold and hungry, so we had to go out to look for food. We finally froze to death in the icy and snowy wilderness. After we died, my dad's selfless spirit was reported by the media. He became an online celebrity for promoting positive energy. My dad took the opportunity to start a live stream and quickly remarried and had another child. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day before the extreme cold weather. This time, be a good person to your heart's content. Extreme cold weather is about to arrive. The Meteorological Bureau reminds all residents to take protective measures. It's only October, and it's already this cold. Yes, this weird weather is getting more and more unusual. I heard this weather is once in a century. My son told me to stock up on food. Right, stock up on grain is definitely a good idea. A noisy sound rushed into my ears. My head was about to burst. Wait, what's going on? Am I not already dead? I was holding a phone, and the time on it was October 29th. I must have reincarnated. At this moment, I was standing in a supermarket, with a cart full of goods in front of me. The shelves around me were empty. Closing my eyes, the fear of being frozen to death at minus 120 degrees came over me again. My body couldn't stop trembling. No, this time, I must survive with Mom. Without thinking, I quickly checked out and drove away. I didn't go home, but went somewhere else. 3 hours later, I returned home, and Mom was waiting for me. How was it? Did you get it? Yeah, I responded faintly, placing the things I bought from the supermarket on the ground. There was rice, flour, and meat. Mom sighed. Good, with these, our family of 3 won't have to worry anymore. I glanced at her but didn't tell her the truth of the previous life. In the previous life, my father gave away all the supplies he had barely managed to get. He didn't consider me and Mom at all. I asked him, but he slapped me in the face. Later, after the food in the house was all gone, my mom and I were cold and hungry and tried to ask the neighbors for some food. My father scolded us for being shameless, saying that we should not ask for things back that we had given away, with no other choice. My mom and I had to go out to find food. We didn't get far before we collapsed in the snow due to exhaustion, as the temperature outside was as low as minus 120 degrees. When I woke up again, we had been buried halfway in the snow. Help, help, I let out a weak cry, but the only response I received was deathly silence. In the end, my mother and I froze to death. After we died, the government's rescue team entered the city and saved my father, who was on the verge of death. My father's selfless spirit was widely reported by the media. Neighbors and the community gave interviews, praising my father's character. The story of the living kind person moved millions of netizens. My father took the opportunity to start a live stream, made a lot of money, and remarried a 25-year-old young wife. Myself and my mother were forever forgotten in that snowy day. Before her death, my mother cried and said sorry to me, saying that she had been a burden to me. I was so numb from the cold that I couldn't even cry. Watching her take her last breath in my arms, my thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the door opening. My father came back. He was holding 2 bottles of alcohol in his hand. Lee gave it to me. This time, I really helped him out. My father looked proud and handed the alcohol to my mother. My mother complained, the extreme cold is coming. Everyone is stockpiling supplies, but you go and help others carry things. My father's face turned very long, and he said discontentedly, what do you think I need your teaching for? I'm not like you, selfish, thinking only about yourself. Helping people also depends on the situation. We don't have much stored at home. Don't you worry about me and Sarah. He snorted through his nose and kicked the shopping bag on the floor. Isn't it here? This is all Sarah bought. As the argument between the two became more intense, I stepped in front of my mom. Dad, you're right. I'm proud of you. Mom is just a bit narrow-minded. Don't take it to heart. You're the sensible one, unlike your mom, who's selfish. Mom's eyes turned red. The urgent doorbell broke the tense atmosphere inside the house. Mom, you take care of the things. I'll go open the door. Outside the door was Jane. Seeing me, she asked anxiously, Sarah, do you have extra food at home? I turned back to look at my father, and his eyes were full of warning. I smiled brightly. Yes, come in. Jane came in. Looking at my father, wanting to speak but hesitating, my father put on a friendly smile. Jane, what's wrong? If you have any problems, talk to George. George, I just went to the supermarket, but everything was sold out, and I didn't buy anything. As she spoke, Jane began to cry. My father comforted her. Don't cry, don't cry, you're pregnant, crying is bad for your health, we have a lot of supplies at home, we can share some with you." Having finished speaking, he picked up the 2 plastic bags and handed them to Jane. Jane was holding her phone, about to transfer money to my father. My father kept shaking his head. "No, no, that's too kind of you." I took the plastic bags smoothly, saying, "My father often tells us that a distant relative is not as good as a close neighbor, and neighbors should help each other more." Considering that Jane was pregnant and it was inconvenient for her to carry heavy things, I kindly delivered the items to her home. Before leaving, I whispered to her, "If other neighbors need anything, just come to my house to take it." Jane thanked me repeatedly. When I got home, my mother looked at the remaining supplies and complained, it was so hard to get them. My father frowned and interrupted her, "Greedy, let people laugh at us. One day without eating, are they going to starve?" I squeezed my mother's hand, telling her not to say anything more. A while later, someone knocked on the door again. This time it was the neighbor William. His son had gone abroad, and he and his wife relied on each other. My father often helped him. William asked directly, "George, do you have rice at home?" My mother looked at the remaining bag of rice and quietly pulled my father's sleeve. My father quietly pulled away and smiled at William. "Yes, there's a lot. Thank you so much." "Thank you, you're a good person." My father carried the rice and followed William while walking and talking. My mother said urgently, "Your father, really, there's no food at home, yet he still worries about other people's families." Father is like that, he's always ready to help others. "It's getting colder and colder, what are we going to do then?" my mom said, anxious like an ant on a hot pan. Pacing back and forth in the living room, "No, I have to go out and buy some more." I glanced at the time and said hurriedly, "I'll go with you." After saying that, I came out carrying a huge plastic bag. My mom looked at me strangely, about to speak, when my father came back. "Where are you going?" "We're going to buy some more supplies," I replied. "Oh, bring me 2 bottles of wine as well." "No problem, the outdoor temperature has dropped below 0. It's so cold that people are stomping their feet." I turned the heater to maximum and drove the car carefully. The shops on both sides of the street are mostly closed, leaving only a few still lit. It's past," my mom said anxiously. The car passed a supermarket without stopping, instead turning a corner and heading in another direction. "Mom, we're not going to the supermarket. Where are we going?" "You'll find out when we get there." My mom usually trusts me and didn't ask any more questions. 10 minutes later, I brought her to a residential area, parked the car. I took the luggage bag down and walked directly towards the elevator, until entering the spacious and warm room. My mother finally realized, "Sarah, are you going to leave your father alone at home?" My mother was soft-hearted, and I knew that if I told her directly, she would definitely not accept it. "Mom, there's nothing left at home that can last a week." A week later, "We will all starve to death." "No, I have calculated, if we save carefully, it can last a month." "Mom, are you sure that Dad won't give away supplies again?" My mother hesitated. She knew my father, and if someone asked, he would never refuse, even if it meant the family would go without food. But, he's your father, are we just going to sit and do nothing?" Saying that, my mother was about to get up and go out. I led her to the window, and what met my eyes was all white. The light snow had turned into heavy snowflakes, and the ground was already covered with thick snow. "The weather is getting worse. I won't send you. How are you going to get across?" My mother was staring blankly outside. "Mom, Dad always puts others before the family. Think about it, whenever he helps others, it always ends up harming our interests, and he seems to be proud of it. You rest for a while, I'll go cook something." I know I need to give my mother time to think it through. When the steaming hot red oil hot pot was brought to the table, we both started salivating. What else goes well with a snowy day? The table was filled with hot pot ingredients, including tripe, beef balls, beef slices, lamb slices, quail eggs, duck blood, baby cabbage, noodles, all the things my mother and I love. "When did you prepare all of this?" When I heard the news. "What news?" I smiled and changed the subject. "This house belongs to my colleague. She just went back to her hometown, and I told her about it. There's enough supplies here. You can eat. Cold weather needs more calories." And my mom isn't picky, she ate heartily. By the way, I forgot to adjust the sauce. I took out a bottle of sesame paste, sliced a small chili pepper, and made a bowl of my mom's favorite sesame sauce. I raised a bottle of cola. "Mom, cheers." "Cheers." We ate so sweatily. My mom had a satisfied expression on her face. "I'm so full." Usually at home, She always cooks with my dad's and my preferences in mind. Sometimes, before we even finish a few bites, my dad would ask her to cook something else. I can say that today was the most comfortable meal my mom has had. After eating our fill, she started checking the household supplies, while I played with my phone. The information in the property owners group has already reached 99 plus. When I clicked into it, I saw that everyone's message was the same: nice George. Some sent flowers, some sent applause. I scrolled to the top and finally understood the whole story. It turned out that after we left, more neighbors came to ask for supplies. My dad naturally couldn't refuse them. It's mealtime, and the neighbors start showing their dinners, all of them tagging my dad, at George thanks George's cabbage, which allowed our family to have a warm pot of braised pork with cabbage. At George thanks George's pork, we had a meal of braised pork. At George thanks George's rice, the fragrant rice is just right for the Chinese stomach. At George thanks George's peanut oil, we fried a big pot of peanuts, perfect for drinking alcohol. My dad's replies were always, "You're welcome, neighbors should help each other," heart emoji. I was laughing while reading, when suddenly my phone rang. It was my dad's call. I intentionally didn't answer the first time, and answered when the second ring came. "Where have you been? Why haven't you come back yet?" "We can't go back." "Why?" "The snow has blocked the road, the car can't move." "Where are you now?" "Oh, at the supermarket." "You hurry and bring me something to eat, I'm about to starve." "Oh. You haven't eaten yet, there's still supplies at home, right?" "Ah, you don't know." Stop talking, my father is about to starve, tell your mother to take the phone." I glanced into the kitchen, my mother was washing dishes, probably didn't hear our conversation. "My mom can't take the call. If you don't have anything to eat, ask the neighbors to bring some, you've been so good to them, they'll surely return the favor, you." Before he could speak dirty words, I hung up the phone. After feeling the temperature dropped again, I turned on the air conditioner in the room. I was lying in bed with my mom, watching a TV series on the laptop. We watched until 10 p.m., and then we were ready to go to sleep when my dad called again. "Hello, where did you put the electric blanket?" I looked outside the door and replied, "I don't know." Then, I hung up the phone while he was muttering. The next day, the sun was bright, and outside was still a white expanse. When I looked at my phone, the temperature dropped another 10 degrees. It's now minus 30 degrees. I know, this is just the beginning. The temperature will keep getting lower, and then water and electricity will be cut off. The first thing to do is to store water. I took out 10 20L water tanks, connected them with a hose, and started filling them with water. I felt relieved once I saw them full, although I also stock up on bottled water. I also need water for showering and washing vegetables, so storing more is definitely better. The second thing is to divide the meat. When I dragged out a whole pig, my mom was so shocked her eyes almost popped out of her head. "Sarah, Mom, come help, or it will be too frozen to cut later." After saying that, my mom and I each took a knife and started to cut the pig. This pig was one I bought from a farm in the countryside. At that time, there were no meat supplies left in the supermarket, so I drove to the suburbs and bought a whole pig for $5,000. There was no space in the refrigerator at home, so my mom made some cured meat, and I took the rest to the window outside. Outside is like a natural big refrigerator. It only took one night for the meat to freeze. So, a week passed, and the temperature outside had dropped to minus 70 degrees. My dad had been hungry for 2 days. He called me, and he was too weak to even scold me. I advised him, a distant relative is not as good as a close neighbor. We are far away, so it's better to ask the neighbors for help. With so many neighbors, each of them can give you a little. The next evening, my father probably could not hold on any longer, and he sent a message in the group, "Dear neighbors, I don't have any supplies at home. Can you crowdsource some food for me, please? I'm desperate." The message was sent for a full 2 hours, and the group was completely silent, helpless. My father had to mention people directly. At Jane, "Lend me half a cabbage." "Okay." At William, "Lend me some rice." At Lee, "Last time when I helped you move things, I saw that you had a lot of instant noodles at home. Can you lend me a pack?" A group of 300 people, completely silent, until several hours later. Someone finally replied, "Jane, sorry, George, I just saw the message now. I don't have any cabbages left at home. I'll send you a pack of cookies." After Jane replied, others gradually started replying as well. One family sent some bread, another sent some instant noodles, and my father let out an excited roar in the group. "Thank you, dear neighbors, I love you." Later, he posted a moment on his social media. with a photo of the supplies sent by the neighbors. The caption was, "Raising children doesn't prevent old age, thanks to the good neighbors." That's not obviously implying me, is it? I immediately commented below, "Okay Dad, give me back my bank card." This message was quickly deleted by my father. My attention was drawn to the supplies in the photo, the things the neighbors sent to repay my father were all kinds of stuff. I even noticed that there was a piece of moldy sausage in there. These supplies can only let my father live for another week. After a week, the outdoor temperature has already dropped to minus 120 degrees. In my previous life, it was about this time, and my mother and I went out to look for food, and we froze to death in the snow. Thinking about the tragedy of my previous life, my body shivered involuntarily. My mother didn't know what had happened, and she hugged me tightly, full of concern. I gradually calmed down in her arms. We still had hot pot for dinner. Thank goodness I had stockpiled enough hot pot base. As soon as we finished eating, plop, the power went out. My mother didn't expect the power to really go out, and she panicked, asking me what to do. I took out a candle and lit it. I comforted her, "Don't panic, the temperature has already dropped to minus 120 degrees now. Not only will the power go out, but the water supply will also be cut off, and then the communication devices will not work either." After saying that, I used an abandoned iron bucket as a stove, boiled some water, and warmed my hands and feet. I put the cotton stuffing and blankets from the woven bag on the bed, made the bed, and let my mother go to bed early. The indoor temperature was also very low, and the two of us huddled together, drowsily about to fall asleep. Suddenly, there was a loud knocking at the door. I was startled, and all my drowsiness disappeared. Who is it? Could it be the neighbor? I didn't dare to open the door recklessly, so I took a candle to the door and looked through the peephole. A grim face appeared in my view. "Oh no, how did he find here?" I exclaimed. My mother also woke up and came over. "What's wrong, Mom, Dad?" He came here. How did he find this place?" Mom's evasive gaze instantly made everything clear to me. "Is it you?" I shouted out of control. "Why did you tell him?" Mom looked like a child who had done something wrong. The knocking continued. I annoyedly walked back to the room. Mom followed me, trying to explain. "Sarah, we have so much supplies. It's enough to eat. He's your dad. How could you let him starve to death?" I struggled to move the table to the door, as if to block it, because I was afraid that if Dad got angry, he might do anything. Mom still tried to persuade me. "Sarah, please open the door for him. He's your dad." I finally could not stand it any longer and shouted, "I don't have a father like him." Clap. My mother cried and slapped me in the face. As she came to her senses, she apologized to me. I'm sorry. I took a deep breath and looked at her and said, "Mom, do you know, I had a dream that my dad gave all our supplies to others. He was too proud to ask for help, so he made you go out to find supplies, and you know what? In the end, you froze to death outside. After you died, he immediately married someone else." My mother covered her mouth and looked at me in disbelief. "Mom, all this time, he has made you suffer for his own pride. Have you forgotten?" I took my mother's hand and earnestly talked to her about many past events, those long-forgotten events that she herself had forgotten. When my mother gave birth to me, my father was helping a neighbor with farm work. My mother went to the hospital alone with her heavy body. Just before the school term started, he lent my tuition fee to a friend, who has never returned it to this day. There was once something even more extreme. When my grandmother was seriously ill, my mother raised $2,000 to treat her, and he took it to build a house for someone else. My father is considered a good person by the neighbors, but he has never fulfilled his responsibilities to the family. My mother was influenced by my words, and she fell silent. The sound of knocking at the door gradually stopped. I was about to go back to the room to sleep with my mother. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the front door, and the house seemed to tremble. Then, the familiar curse came. "Sarah, I know you're inside. Come open the door for me, or I'll smash it." As soon as the words were spoken, the front door trembled again. Open the door for me. If you don't open the door, I'll have someone come and break it down. I know you're home, and I know you've stockpiled a lot of supplies. If you don't let me in, I'll make sure the whole world knows." This is also what I'm most worried about. Now, people's supplies are getting fewer and fewer. If someone finds out I still have supplies at home, they will definitely come to steal them, but even if I give him supplies, I can't guarantee he won't tell others. I'm so anxious I feel like an ant on a hot pan. The sound of someone knocking on the door continued outside. Suddenly, an idea struck me. I know what to do. I first pulled the door chain, then opened the front door. My dad saw the door open and rushed in like a wild beast. "Dad, you heard me, you must be hungry, have something to eat first." I had Mom bring over a braised pig's trotter, handed it to him, and watched him eat it in no time. He must have been really hungry. His eating style was like that of some animal, devouring everything in a flash. After he finished eating, I handed him a can of beer. My dad's eyes lit up. Glug glug, he finished it, then belched contentedly. "Daughter, let me in, it's freezing outside," he begged carefully. "Dad, I can't let you in." His face changed. He looked at me fiercely and said, "You little girl, hurry up and let me in while I'm still in a good mood. I'm your father and you still want to kill your father." "Listen to me," I said slowly. "If you leave, I can give you half of the supplies, at least enough for you to eat for a month. But if you insist on coming in, then let's fight to the death." My father thought for a long time, and finally chose option 1. I had Mom pack dozens of pounds of meat, as well as dried vegetables and water. "Dad, it's not that I don't want to let you in, it's just that you're too kind. I'm worried you'll again ignore yourself and give things to others." My father didn't even look up as he loaded the things onto the cart. I'm not that foolish. Back then, I helped them because it gave me a good reputation, which was important for my job promotion. Now, who has time to care about others? I slowly curled my lips but didn't answer. Only when I no longer heard any sounds did I close the door. After he left, I opened Jane's WeChat. I sent her a message. "Jane, is your house out of supplies? I just saw my dad bringing a truckload of supplies back. I'm only telling you this. Don't tell anyone else." Not only did she receive this message, because I sent it to everyone, a great show was about to begin. Not long after, I received a video. A dark crowd of people gathered outside my front door. "Open up, George, I know you're in there. George, I smell meat, give me some. George, this is Lee, the one who borrowed your instant noodles last time. Open the door, give me something to eat. George, how selfish you are. Do you want us to starve to death? Don't waste words on him. Let's break the door down together, George. Don't think you can hide and get away with it. Everyone is out of food, don't force us." The group shouted for an entire hour, but the door remained tightly closed. The caption of this video is, "True moments of life and death test humanity." My mom also saw this video and was worried they might really break in. The door outside is a stainless steel security door, and there's another regular wooden door inside. I don't believe they can really break it down, but I'm worried about someone else. In the recent video, the camera flashed by, and I saw his sinister face. This man is Frank. He lives downstairs from us, and is my father's bitter enemy. They used to work in the same unit, and because my father often did good deeds, he had a good reputation and was well liked at work. Once, a colleague's family member got cancer, and my father led the fundraising, with each person contributing $1,000. Frank didn't want to donate, and my father had a conflict with him in public, calling him heartless. Later, Frank did donate, but he was also marginalized. My father was promoted twice, but he remained just a regular employee. Neighbors often gossiped about him behind his back, saying he was always nitpicking and hard to get along with. 3 years ago, Frank's wife left him and ran off with someone else, and he also quit his job at the unit. Just now in the video, I saw him staring at the gate with a cold and sinister look. I suddenly remembered something, and turned to ask my mom, "Mom, the Frank who lives in our building, do you know what he's doing after quitting his job? He's now specializing in fixing locks and making keys. Why do you suddenly ask about him? I saw him on a video." My mom got worried and wanted to go back. "Wait, I'll call him." He took out his phone, and it only had 1 bar of battery left. The phone only rang once before someone answered. "Hello." Hearing my dad's voice, my mom finally relaxed. "Are you okay over there? Mom is worried about you." "I'm fine, you should worry about yourselves." "What do you mean? I was just trying to warn you. Be careful, Frank." "Haha, I'm not even afraid of him, you take care of yourself." After saying that, I hung up the phone. My phone was already showing low battery. After talking to my dad, I felt uneasy all day. What did he mean by, "You should worry about yourselves"? At that moment, I heard some rustling sounds from outside the door. My heart skipped a beat, and I forced down my fear as I quietly moved to the door. Through the cat's eye, I saw a person bending over, trying to pick the lock. He had his head down, and I couldn't see his face, only that he was a man. I took the axe hidden behind the door, held my breath, and my heart was in my throat. 3 minutes passed, but the door didn't budge. I looked through the cat's eye again, and saw the person wiping his sweat, trembling slightly with tension. I thought to myself, this person must be a beginner. Otherwise he wouldn't have taken this long to open the door. Seizing the opportunity, I suddenly opened the door. After a scream, the sharp axe was already in front of him. Speak, who are you? What were you trying to do with the lock? The person was so scared that he trembled, and couldn't speak clearly. I'm from next door. I came to get food. Is it stealing? The man shook his head like a pendulum. Don't kill me, I'll tell you a secret. What secret? You are in danger. Run away quickly, you can go to my house. Just give me a little food. The man in front looked to be in his 20s, and because he hadn't eaten for several days, his voice was weak. I thought for a moment and decided to cooperate with him. Mom strongly opposed it. We don't even know him. What if he's a bad person? Do you think we have a second choice? Maybe. He was deliberately lying to you. My intuition tells me it's true. The three of us worked together to move all the supplies to the next room. The layout of the next room was the same as ours, and we sat at the table to eat something to replenish our energy. At that moment, a clear footstep sound came. There are quite a few people. I looked through the peephole and saw a familiar old face. It's Lee, crouching low. He moved stealthily toward the next room. Is this it? George said 302. What are you waiting for? Just do it. A clear metallic collision sound came. They must have taken an axe or some other tool. Someone, help me out. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door being hit. Seeing this, I was so angry that I trembled. A man named Kevin was sitting at the table eating heartily, not even lifting his head when he heard the sound. At that moment, I realized that the soundproofing here was very poor, and any loud noise next door could be heard clearly here. The last time my father came to see me, the things he said at the door were all heard by him. Which is why he thought of forcing the door open because the food at home had run out. I didn't expect to be discovered. My mother's face was as pale as death, and she had heard the sounds outside. She couldn't believe that my father had actually done such a betrayal. She started sobbing. Kevin, seeing this, placed a piece of ham in front of her. Auntie, it's the end of the world now. Anything can happen. Don't have too much illusion about human nature. Eat while you can. Every day you survive is one more day. His words worked, and when I looked up again, my mother's eyes were full of determination. A cheer was heard from outside. I knew, the door next to us had finally been opened. The three of us listened quietly with our ears pricked up. A short while later, a stream of curses came. Damn it, George lied to us. There's nothing to eat here. Wasted a trip. Go back and settle accounts with him. No, there are signs of someone living in this house. Everyone, hurry up and look. They must not have gone far. Damn it, find them and skin them. Chaotic footsteps sounded. They were coming this way. Bang bang bang. The sound of knocking suddenly rang out, startling us a lot. My mom screamed in fear. I reacted quickly and covered his mouth with my hand. Kevin also shook his head at us. The person outside seemed to have also heard the sound. Come here, there's a sound in this house. The footsteps gradually approached, and my heart was in my throat. The knocking continued, and the inside of the house was deathly quiet. After a few seconds, a voice rang out. Prise the door open. I and Kevin exchanged a glance. He rolled his eyes. I tightened my grip on the axe. I'd rather go down fighting. At that moment, a curse was heard from outside the door. Damn. It's a beast. Then, a cat's meow was heard from outside. Catch it, we'll have a feast. Let's go. The footsteps faded away, and we sighed in relief. Kevin murmured, it's black. Did you raise it? No, it's a stray cat. I've fed it before. Don't worry, they might not be able to catch it. The phone was already dead, and at that moment, we had returned to the Stone Age, completely cut off from the outside world. But it's okay. We have a fire source, food and drinks, and when we're bored, we can read books. Kevin is a novel lover, and he has collected more than 1,000 Chinese and foreign novels at home. The three of us each held a novel, and we would read all day, and when we got tired, we would sleep. We were like a group of squirrels waiting for the winter to pass. It brought a long-lost peace to my heart. I didn't know how long it had been, but when I heard the sound of an airplane in the sky, I knew we had made it through. Kevin opened the door, and we saw a group of armed police in uniforms. Everyone cheered. This was the joy of surviving the disaster. The end of the world had finally passed, and we had survived. My mom and I hurried home, and the moment we opened the door, we were shocked by what we saw. My dad was tied to a chair with a rope. He was emaciated, with a vacant look in his eyes, staring at us blankly. The room smelled terrible, obviously from the excrement under my dad's feet. My mom approached and called out, George, My dad showed no reaction, as if we were strangers. My mom rushed out to find someone to help. I looked at my dad, his lips were moving, and I had to get close to hear him repeating a sentence: "I'm not a good person." The police took my dad to the hospital. Before reaching the hospital, my dad couldn't hold on any longer and passed away. After we reported the case, my dad had enough supplies, so he wouldn't have starved like that. Also, his hands were tied behind his back, so it must have been done by someone else. When we arranged my dad's funeral, none of the neighbors came. My dad's funeral was simple. Besides a few relatives, we didn't inform anyone else. After we came back, we found out that many neighbors didn't survive this disaster, and many people were gone. The people left avoided us, looking like they didn't want to bother us. I had a vague feeling that something must have happened between them and my dad. What we didn't expect was that the good man image he had carefully maintained all his life also collapsed overnight. The murderer who killed my dad turned himself in. Before the police could start their investigation, he confessed to all the crimes. Yes, he was frank, he confessed to the crime, but he asked the police to conduct the interrogation publicly. Everyone saw the video he provided. In the video, my dad was bound to a chair and struggling violently. "Frank, you crazy guy, let me go." Frank came from off-screen and stuffed a cloth into my father's mouth. His whining looked like that of a dog. There was a time display at the top of the video. This was the first day, that is, the first day my father was kidnapped. 3 days later, my father was extremely hungry and begged Frank for something to eat. Frank gave him some water and a piece of meat. My father ate greedily and begged for more food. Frank let out a cold laugh and still covered his mouth. By the 7th day, we found out Frank why he did this. "Everyone says you're a good person, you say, are you?" Frank, his cold voice made my father shiver. "Yes, no, not, is it or isn't it?" Frank shouted. "No," my father said with a trembling voice. "Why isn't it?" I speak." In Frank's intimidating pressure, my father finally shouted, "I do good things for myself." This statement clearly pleased Frank, and my father received a small piece of meat and a cup of water. From then on, every time my father spoke the truth, he would get water and food. My father also revealed all the good intentions he had over the years. His mind had broken down, and in the end, he kept repeating only one sentence: "I am not a good person." Courtroom, Frank said to everyone, "Now you know whether he is a good person or not." Everyone was silent. Frank burst into laughter. He was sentenced to death. He did not choose to appeal. Perhaps, he had long wanted to give up his life. And the arrival of the frozen world gave him an opportunity, exposing the hypocrisy of the good, revealing the true nature of humanity. My father never expected to be betrayed by the carefully cultivated persona. Winter snow melts, spring is warm and flowers bloom. My mother and I moved out of this community and started a new life. This time, we all must live well, live into the person we want to become. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, let's continue to see another similar story. Grandpa suddenly passed away, leaving 2 houses. My aunt, who has always been very frugal, chose the old and dilapidated house, leaving the school district house in the city for us. Surprised, our family didn't think much and silently accepted it. Little did I know, when signing the documents, I heard my aunt's inner thoughts: "Don't think you've really gained an advantage. I chose the safe zone. Wait a few days, I'll make you all roast. This time we won't argue with you. We just want the PJ community house." After my aunt spoke, all 4 of us looked at her with surprise. 3 days ago, Grandpa passed away. We hurried to choose a good day, and we arranged Grandpa's funeral. My aunt's family appeared in the middle of the funeral. 3 people with no sign of sorrow, and a bit of excitement. I can guess that she did this to avoid paying money, which she has done many times before. All expenses, from food, clothing, housing, and transportation, as well as subsequent medical costs, were always covered by my family until my grandfather's death. And has only one son, who is uneducated and dropped out of school early, and often asks my grandfather for money when he has nothing to do. My father said it was just because of my grandfather's reputation that he didn't want to make things worse, but after my grandfather's death, we would completely cut off relations. I thought today, when dividing the inheritance, my aunt's family would definitely cause a big commotion, since the 2 houses left by my grandfather had a big difference in value. Unexpectedly, my aunt proposed to take PJ Community House. PJ Community is an old community built several decades ago, relocation housing. The environment and location are not very good. Mostly elderly people live there. Young people would not choose to live there. while the other house JN community is completely different, located in the city center, with convenient transportation, and adjacent to a key middle school. Bella, have you made up your mind? My father asked, as if making the final confirmation. You've made up your mind, have you? Don't waste time here. We have things to do. Aunt was full of impatience, her eyes full of disdain as she looked at our family. My father looked back at me and my sister, then went up to sign his name. All right, that's all done. Why are you all being so slow? Aunt suddenly became very happy. Her face couldn't hide her smile, while Uncle looked at us with a mysterious gaze. Just as Aunt's family turned to leave, I heard a familiar harsh voice. Bob really thinks he can take advantage of me. I'm the one who's come back from the dead. This time I'll pick the safe zone first, and a few days later I'll let you all die from the heat, let you ignore me when I'm in trouble. On the way home, I kept thinking something was off. Dad, Mom, Lily, did you really not hear what Aunt said? No, sister, are you hearing things because of too much stress? It's not impossible, but that long passage can't just be called hallucination. There's also something about rebirth, which is especially confusing, considering the caution. I still want to speak out what I heard. Safe zone, rebirth. Sister, have you read too many novels? My younger sister is a sophomore, at an age when she's very lively. It's not right, better to believe it's true. Lily, look at Auntie's WeChat moments. I handed the phone to my sister, and there was Auntie's latest WeChat moment. They seemed to have just left the notary office and then went to PJ residential area. Auntie posted a photo of herself and the inside of the house. The inside of the house was covered in dust and the renovation was in bad condition. After all, Grandpa moved to a new house long ago, and the old house was just kept as a memory and no one lived there. Pay attention to Auntie's caption. The younger sister looked for a moment, then her eyes suddenly widened. Aunt's WeChat moments read clearly, what's the difference between living well or poorly? In a few days, you'll all be envious of me. Then you'll beg me, and I won't even look at you. Sister, the younger sister spoke halfway, paused for a moment, then turned to thinking. The mother in the front seat also saw the moments, and her face turned serious. Riley is right, better safe than sorry. Bob, we need to prepare in advance. After returning home, the four of us held an emergency meeting in the living room. Through the analysis of my parents and my own supplement, combined with the recent several days of high temperature, we came to a preliminary conclusion that the temperature is likely to rise further. The human body's dehydration temperature is 58 degrees Celsius. If it reaches the level that Aunt said, which could heat us all to death, it might be over 60 degrees. Honey, you and Riley go to the market to check prices and prepare for a big purchase. I'll take Lily to S-Town once. There's nothing wrong. You just send the things directly to S-Town. S-Town is my mother's hometown, where my grandparents were farmers, and after their death, they left all the land to their only daughter, which is my mother. My mother moved to the city to work and live, and once she got settled, she stopped managing the land. She just let it be leave and used, as she heard rumors about land being taken. However, my father's main reason for going back was not the few acres of land, but the underground air raid shelter. A few decades ago during the war, a large-scale air raid shelter was built underground, and the entrance was near the farmland. With the development of the times, young people have all moved to the city to work. S-Town has long been deserted, and the few remaining families are all elderly. We quietly went back, and no one would notice. Okay, Dad's house, should we sell it? If there's really something, having more money on hand would be better. After hearing my mother's suggestion, my father thought for a moment. Don't sell it. If we sell it, Bella might figure out something. You can just take a photo of the house and post it on WeChat moments, so that Bella thinks we know nothing. For so many years, I, as your older brother, have been pretty decent. I still want to take advantage of our family. Safe zone. If there really is a safe zone, she wouldn't be able to hold it. After saying goodbye to my father and sister, I immediately went with my mother to the nearest big market. Before leaving, my parents checked the balance of the family's money. Selling the house and car would take too long, because we couldn't be sure when the temperature would suddenly rise. After years of saving, plus my income from working for several years, the money our family can come up with is about $3 million. It's neither little nor much, but if we plan carefully, it's enough for us to get by for a while. After arriving at the market, we directly went to the person in charge to place our order. To avoid drawing attention, we claimed that our family had just opened a large supermarket and needed a large amount of goods. The boss didn't think much about it. This is a wholesale market, and the number of goods sent out every day is countless, with destinations across the country. Since it's hot, fresh vegetables and fruits will definitely be hard to preserve, and even in the air-raid shelter, their shelf life won't be long. Therefore, my mother and I focused on goods that are easy to store, such as canned goods and meat snacks. At this point, we didn't care about the taste anymore. We first ordered 100 cases of beef jerky, chicken jerky, and various kinds of meat slices. They are filling, delicious, and healthy. Since we couldn't buy fresh fruits and vegetables, we bought dried fruits and vegetables. Each 100 cases. This has already cost us nearly 500,000. Not done yet, we bought another 100 boxes of compressed biscuits, canned food, and various seasonings. That's about it. The food is basically all prepared, except for the most important thing, water, which we haven't bought yet. My mom and I visited 3 stores, buying almost all the available bottled and drum-packed mineral water. And we've already spent over $1 million. My mom rented a box truck, which is already full, and another one is almost full. To avoid drawing attention, my mom plans to first park the truck in the parking lot, and then drive it away one by one. She and my dad started their business transporting goods, and both of them have A2 driver's licenses. S-Town is not too far from the city. It takes about 3 hours to drive there. My mom and I first drove one truck home, then my dad took over with his car, and we switched halfway. He continued driving to S-Town to organize the food in the air raid shelter. All 3 cars at home were used for transportation, and in this way, we safely delivered the food. Not done yet, we need to prepare for daily necessities along with food and drinks. We directly went to the supplies area with a truck my father had prepared: toothpaste and toothbrushes, soap and toilet paper, undergarments, wet wipes and towels, mattress and blankets, clothes and pants, sanitary napkins for the 3 women in the family, and so on. After transporting all these things, my mom and I bought dozens of bags of cat litter and dozens of biodegradable agents. Going to the bathroom is definitely essential. These things can be disposed of on less hot evenings later. The last load, we first bought solar panels. It's hard to charge in the countryside, and if there's no electricity, even if the phone has a signal, it won't be able to receive any information. However, to prevent the phone from becoming useless, we also bought rechargeable lamps and rechargeable flashlights and other rechargeable electrical appliances. Finally, my mom and I went straight to the pharmacy. Amoxicillin, ibuprofen, and several bottles of iodine swabs were also bought. For 3 days, my mom drove the truck and I drove the car. We slept for no more than 10 hours in total over the 3 days. On one hand, my mom and I were both worried about safety and kept watching the road for each other. On the other hand, we were always anxious, afraid that we wouldn't have enough time and dared not sleep. Drive the last loaded truck to S-Town, and my mom and I were already exhausted. My dad and my sister haven't been idle these days. They initially took care of cleaning the inside of the air raid shelter, and once my mom and I returned with the supply truck, they started moving the goods box by box. The 2 of them have been covered in dust and dirt these past 3 days, and I could see my sister has lost 5 pounds. My mom and I joined the moving activity and managed to get everything into the air raid shelter before sunset on the 4th day. At first, we only had a rough idea, but now we truly realized how big the air raid shelter was inside. There was still space left after placing all the items, and my dad even set up a temporary toilet after we had everything settled. My dad and mom quickly drove the cars back to the city to return them to the rental company. According to what my dad said, having several box trucks parked here would be too noticeable and draw attention. The car my dad drove back last time also had some additional knives and handy tools for emergencies. At night, we laid 2 planks on the ground and watched the night sky together, feeling that such a scene might be hard to see for a while. Suddenly, my dad's phone started vibrating, as if someone had sent him a message. My father held the phone in front of his eyes for a while, then laughed angrily. Bella finally couldn't hold it in. The 3 of us gathered around to look, and there was my father and aunt's chat interface, with several unkind messages from my aunt. Bella said, "Bob, your family just caught a small windfall, didn't you?" Bella said, "How many times have you asked me for money over the years? You never gave me any, and yet you always have a bunch of big words. Who are you trying to fool with that nonsense?" Bella said, "Papa, is your big house comfortable to live in? I'm telling you, don't pretend to be dead now. You and your family will kneel before me tomorrow. You'll cry in front of me. I won't even look at you." As Bella said, the next day at noon, the temperature outside suddenly rose. My mom reacted quickly, rushed to take back the clothes she had hung out, and pulled us into the air raid shelter, near the entrance of the shelter. The signal was still normal. my sister and I sat on stools and checked the latest messages. Recent news: our city has issued a red heat warning, and the temperature is expected to continue rising in the coming days. Please the citizens take precautions and try to avoid working in direct sunlight. Sister, it's already 50 degrees outside. My younger sister curled up into a ball, looking worried. I heard that whether it's above or below zero, temperatures above 50 degrees are always exaggerated. It might be even hotter outside now. After saying that, both my sister and I looked toward the cave entrance. The warm yellow light made us feel cold all over. High temperatures caused waves of heat, like fire snakes, writhing outside and scorching anyone who came into contact with them. Sister, look at this. My sister turned her phone screen towards me. Several photos on her social media caught my attention. The photos showed my aunt's family, looking relaxed and sunbathing outside. So hot, they're still outside. They don't care about their lives anymore. Something's not right. I suddenly recalled the safe zone she had mentioned before. If it's something like a zombie outbreak, a safe zone makes sense. It might be a place the zombies don't reach, but where is there a safe zone under such extreme heat? Check if there are any new posts near the PJ community. After I said that, my sister quickly scrolled through her phone, and we almost simultaneously found a post. Headline was very sensational: Apocalypse Disaster, the PJ community becomes a sanctuary. How is that possible? When we told our parents the news, both of them asked in surprise. Earlier, we had speculated about what a safe zone meant. Maybe it was because the community was remote, surrounded by woods, and the temperature wouldn't rise quickly, but this speculation didn't make much sense, and we quickly dismissed it. After that, we were busy buying and organizing supplies, and we put the matter aside. Who would have thought that seeing the truth now makes it even more unreasonable? Looking through the clear pictures circulating online, I couldn't believe my eyes. It seemed PJ's residential area was surrounded by an invisible glass dome. Outside, there was intense sunlight and scorching heat, but inside the dome, it was a peaceful and calm scene. A photo stood out particularly. My aunt looked unimpressed, staring at the crowd outside. Behind her, her son Luke was happily eating a fresh, juicy watermelon. This post has a video. Look at it. My sister placed the phone in the middle and tapped the play button. Wow, it's really 56 degrees outside now. Look again at the residential area. The camera focused on the inside of the glass dome, where a young man held up a thermometer to show the outside, and it only read 28 degrees. The young man was standing at the entrance of the residential area, experiencing the same intense heat outside, yet the temperature inside was completely different. I'm telling you, it's all fate. Aunt suddenly appeared in the video. She reached out and tapped the glass case, producing a crisp sound. This place is now heaven. Do you know what heaven is? You people can't even get in. Hurry and find a place to hide. When it gets hot, no one will pick up your body. In the video, a young man standing outside the glass case was clearly provoked, and he kicked the glass case with all his strength. What a bunch of nonsense. Heaven. That kick used all his strength, plus the anger from being insulted. The young man acted like a mad beast. Who would have thought that as soon as his foot hit the glass case, the case wasn't even affected, and the young man was instead thrown far away. He lay on the ground howling in pain, and then immediately jumped up again because the ground was too hot. He limped away. Tom, the person filming, seemed to know the young man. He shouted after his back, and then the video cut off. At 2 p.m., I was chewing the beef jerky my mom handed me, recalling what happened afterwards. Later, government staff went to investigate near the PJ district, spending dozens of minutes under the scorching sun, but found no results. The PJ district seemed like another dimension, with the temperature remaining around 28 degrees regardless of the outside weather. The entire district was covered by a glass dome, preventing people from outside from entering and those inside from leaving. However, given the current situation, probably few people would want to leave anyway. Riley, do you remember what you said about not helping when someone is in danger? My mother's question suddenly reminded me. Oh right. I had also heard her say that we might have been indifferent to her when she was in danger. Could it be that the people in the PJ district are actually us? My aunt and her family are suffering from the heat outside, and they came to us for help but were turned down. My sister's guess wasn't entirely unreasonable, but upon closer consideration, there was still something off about it. Even if our family was actually assigned to the PJ district, we live in a big house, so we wouldn't have moved anywhere. If there was something from the previous life, it wouldn't have been us who were protected. Forget about it. Mom closed the packaging bag in her hand. We're doing pretty well here in the cave. Your aunt is acting recklessly all day, but it's not guaranteed she'll get a good outcome. The next day at noon, my sister and I only stayed at the cave entrance for a moment before immediately returning to the deep part of the air raid shelter. According to the thermometer hanging at the cave entrance, it was 65 degrees outside, almost reaching the temperature limit the human body can withstand. In such temperatures, people can't stay outside for more than an hour, otherwise they will quickly dehydrate and die. Watching the TV series we had downloaded in advance, we finally waited until nightfall. The temperature dropped at midnight to about 55 degrees, thanks to the cool air coming from inside the cave. We could barely stay at the entrance for a while. I can't believe it, sister, and is really over the top. She even started a live stream. A familiar woman's voice came from my sister's phone. I used the link she shared to open the live streaming platform. In the live stream, the woman looked down on the camera with an arrogant attitude, and next to her was Luke, who was still eating watermelon, but it was clearly not the same one as before. How is it? Some people just have good luck. You don't understand. My older brother Bob kept insisting on fighting me for my father's house. Okay, now we split the city center apartment, and he left me this broken house. What's the result? I'm living so comfortably here. Do you think he'll regret it later? The woman pretentiously took a light jacket and put it on. You know, it's actually a bit cold at night. I don't know what the temperature is outside, but it's 26 degrees here at night. You say this isn't good, but it's too comfortable. People can get bored easily. Everyone knows the woman went live just to show off, and the chat is full of insults. Flower, can't you just shut your stupid mouth? No one wants to see you showing off. Alice, you dirty woman, can't you just die already? Love, you'll get your comeuppance eventually. The woman in the live stream stopped for a moment to look at the chat, being chased with insults, but she didn't seem to get angry at all. Let me show you the cucumbers I planted today. The video feed moves with the woman's perspective, and soon it's outside the house. The area outside was peaceful, the land moist, as if it had just been watered. My garden looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let me show you the vegetables our neighbor has grown. Look at this big onion. A woman walked almost the entire perimeter of the community. Luke was shining a flashlight nearby. They walked all the way to the edge of the glass dome, where the scene inside and outside formed a sharp contrast. Inside the dome, it was lush and green, with abundant vegetation, while outside, the land showed signs of cracking, and the grass tips were withered and yellow. Oh no, you see how bad it is outside. I wonder if my brother's family is still alive, the woman muttered as she walked back into the house, the live stream still on, the camera pointing outside the dome. I don't know where Bella got such a big grudge. After hearing my sisters and my description, the father, who was resting on the mattress, sighed. We not only spent money but also put in effort. Before my father passed away, he told her twice to take care of things, but she didn't care. I didn't say anything after that. Now it's too late, and she's turned into an enemy. After all these years, you still don't know what kind of person she is. If you have $10, you give her $9.99, and she still feels like she's losing out. I don't understand how your parents, who seem like good people, raised such a daughter. My mom sighed, took a bottle of water and drank it quickly to cool down. For the next few days, the aunt's family kept streaming live, while outside it was a storm. The community was peaceful and quiet. Prolonged high temperatures are not suitable for human survival. Even stepping outside can get burned. Those with air conditioning keep it running all day. It's expensive, but they can't stop it. Those without air conditioning can only keep soaking in water, and as soon as the water gets hot, they have to change it immediately. There are almost no people on the street, and sometimes there are dead stray animals and large areas of withered flowers and plants, but this situation can't last long. Not everyone can live off their savings. Some people start to try to go against the heat, riding bikes to deliver food during the night when it's a bit cooler, and the business is quite busy. As some people's lives gradually return to normal, my aunt starts to cause trouble again. She seems unable to stand seeing others do well. Not only is it like this in our family, but now she's even attacking everyone indiscriminately. The incident started with a takeout order she placed. The community was enclosed in a glass dome, making it impossible for anyone to enter, let alone deliver food, and insisted on placing the order, and if it couldn't be delivered, she would give a bad review or just leave it uncollected. The most extreme case was when she gave 6 bad reviews to one delivery man, who was a 50-year-old old man. There's an old mother in the family, in her 80s, who needs medicine and medical care. Now, the hospital can't be reached, and there's not enough money at home, so she has to come out and work hard. The delivery man knelt in front of the glass dome for Aunt begging her not to give a bad review. His tearful and emotional appearance was clearly captured on a phone video. Ant was very arrogant on the other end, saying that either he came in to deliver or just left quickly. The old man, who wasn't in good health, was so angry that he coughed up a mouthful of blood and fainted immediately. PJ, the community is in a remote location, recently, to avoid my aunt. These night delivery men don't dare to come over anymore, only a few who don't care about their lives are still delivering. When the old man fainted, it was just about dawn, and other delivery men were rushing home and didn't dare to go over to help him. This caused the old man not to wake up until the sun rose. My sister and I were very concerned about this matter, watching the live stream despite the risk of burns, unfortunately. When my sister and I could no longer bear it and returned to the depths of the cave, the old man was still lying in the same place. Before turning off the phone, I noticed that the part of the old man's body in contact with the ground had already developed blisters. I wonder how that old man is doing. I was eating dried vegetables, staring blankly at the cave entrance in the distance. It's really tense, big sister. Auntie's doing this will definitely bring bad consequences. Although that's what we said, who knows when the consequences will come. Right now, someone is indeed suffering, and we can only watch the tragedy through the screen. Midnight, my sister and I still brought our stools to sit by the cave entrance as usual. Big sister, a few days ago when we watched the news, there were already people who robbed a supermarket at night, and some even fought with their neighbors over food. Do you think if this continues, will society be okay? Facing my sister's question, I didn't know how to answer. The answer to this question seemed to be affirmative. At the time, we moved here carefully, fearing this very situation. Even though we had whole house air conditioning, with a whole room full of food, the four of us couldn't get anything good out of it. I remember what my aunt said about reincarnation. Even if she died very tragically in her past life, how much better could we be? In a chaotic era, there are no intact eggs, indeed. Outside the glass dome of PJ residential area, the man had already died, until the sun completely set in the evening, when the temperature was just enough for people to go out. A kind person and the police came to check, but the man was already lifeless, his body covered in large red spots and blisters, unrecognizable. It seemed that she knew many people were paying attention to this matter, so my aunt kept the live stream focused on the man's body. The screen was tilted downward, allowing a full view of the man's body, including the blood he had spat on the outer edge of the glass dome. While the audience pitied the man, they cursed my aunt countless times on the live chat, with some even saying they would rather go to prison or be sentenced to death than drag my aunt down with them. My aunt simply laughed it off when she saw such comments, even shouting that if they had the courage, they could come through the glass dome, and she wasn't afraid. Some people had thought that maybe the water could enter PJ residential area through the drainage pipes. Unfortunately, after multiple attempts, everyone found that only water and waste could flow through normally, while other objects could not pass at all. The entire community was like an artwork in the hands of the creator, to be admired but not touched. It seemed that Auntie's family had already made preparations. With an endless supply of food at home, PJ the community had very few people. Only a few families remained, mostly the elderly, with only 2 or 3 young people. The elderly had a lot of supplies at home, except for Auntie's family. The other families hardly ever left their houses. Since there were other families living there, people didn't want to cut off the water supply in case they accidentally harmed innocent people. Sister, look at this. My sister's shout interrupted my thoughts. She was pointing at the bottom of the screen. Her face looked very strange. I followed the direction of her finger and saw Auntie's live stream. I picked up my own phone screen and studied the place my sister had pointed at. The area where the delivery man had previously spat blood began to show fine cracks, and I could almost hear the sound of the glass breaking through the screen. Not only did we notice it, but others in the live stream room also noticed, and people started to flood the chat with regular messages. Just then, my aunt wasn't by the phone, and I saw a kind-hearted person who had come to deliver flowers to the man seem to sense something, and he bent down, extending his finger to gently touch the cracked part of the glass case. A crisp crack sound was heard, and the touched glass shattered, starting with a small hole, which then expanded as the crack spread. The cracking continued until the hole was large enough for a person to pass through. The kind-hearted man, shirtless, crawled in with great curiosity, muttering words like, "So cool." At once, people outside the screen became envious, and I saw some chat messages saying they were about to leave. At PJ neighborhood, people began to arrive at the glass case, some following the heat to start their own live streams. My sister and I had 2 phones, one watching the live stream of my aunt, and the other watching the live stream of people heading to PJ neighborhood. My aunt found out 10 minutes later. The live stream had a delay, and this time is my estimation. I guess the aunt knows all the regular residents of the neighborhood, so seeing a shirtless stranger entering the neighborhood would be very shocking. When the aunt screamed, we were watching another live stream that still didn't have the community footage. After about 5 more minutes, the footage gradually became clear. And the community was already full of people, with the aunt nowhere to be seen, and the entire community was filled with noise. A woman's scream came from the left side of the screen, and the streamer immediately turned the camera towards the direction the sound came from. The streamer was very professional, with the camera positioned at his chest, and through the crowd, he could barely see the center of the storm. The aunt was surrounded by a group of people, her mouth and nose were bleeding, and her son was hiding behind her, showing no intention of speaking up for his mother. "You're beating her, that's illegal." Even after being beaten like that, the aunt still didn't stop arguing. A middle-aged man slapped the aunt. The force of the slap twisted her face. "Illegal, illegal, I'll beat you too." Several young men swung their arms and kept hitting the aunt's face. The aunt could initially still scream, but later she became completely silent. "Move over, move over. Let this lady see who it is." Hearing the voice, the crowd moved aside to make a path, and 2 disheveled people were pushed out. After seeing the face, my sister and I both screamed. It was Uncle Wong. I wondered why Uncle Wong hadn't appeared in Aunt's live streams these days. It turns out he was having fun on his own while Aunt was busy. In the past, I always thought Uncle Wong was sly and not a good person, but I never expected that in this situation, with his wife right there, he could still find someone else. After seeing the woman next to him, I almost choked. She had a wrinkled face and was probably in her 60s or 70s. Uncle Wong had a child early, and he's not even 40 now. "Wong, you have no shame. How could you find an old woman? I'll fight you." Aunt was beaten to the ground, crawling forward with her hands covered in blood, her teeth almost broken. "Good, fight, fight. This woman deserves it. It's all karma." The crowd was excited. No one stopped them. Several people were taking photos with their phones and cameras. Everyone was waiting to see the spectacle. I wonder if the aunt thought about this day when she was causing so much trouble and killing people. The uncle wasn't seriously injured. It looked like he was directly pulled from his date location. I guess the secret date place might not even be indoors. Maybe it was just in the stairwell. The uncle and the other woman were covered in dust. It didn't look like they had fallen on the ground. As the aunt approached, the uncle reached out to block the old woman behind him. "You dirty woman, try touching her and see." This somehow sounds like the meaning of a big lover. The result was that the aunt didn't even touch a single hair on the old woman, but was slapped twice by the uncle. Her son all along Luke was sitting there in a daze. His injuries weren't serious, but he showed no intention of helping his mother at all. "The police are here," someone shouted, and the crowd quickly dispersed outward. The rule of law society hasn't collapsed yet. The police can't come out during the day, and they do small-scale night patrols at night. Perhaps someone outside the screen reported the incident, and soon the police arrived. The police briefly understood the situation and took the aunt's family and some troublemakers away. The phone the aunt placed near the glass case was still live streaming. And the last scene my sister and I saw was staff coming to study the material of the glass case. I thought the matter would come to an end, but when we were about to go back to sleep, I accidentally saw a post online, which said that the aunt had bitten a nearby police officer, opened the car door and jumped out, and now had disappeared into a nearby residential area somewhere. I feel like the location mentioned by the blogger is familiar. Isn't this another house of Grandpa's? Would Auntie go to that house? "Lily, go ask Dad for the phone and turn on the home surveillance." My sister immediately ran into the cave and came back a few minutes later with a black phone, and her parents were following her, still half awake. "What's wrong, Riley?" Facing my mom's question, I didn't explain much, just reached out to turn on the surveillance of Grandpa's house. Grandpa was in poor health in his later years, and we had installed surveillance in both the living room and bedroom. The apocalypse didn't last long, and the house hadn't lost power, so the video flickered a bit before coming into normal view. At that moment, the living room looked normal, and there were no other signs in the house except for some dust. Did I make a mistake? Just as I was doubting myself for a few seconds, the door lock made a sound, and then the door turned, and a figure sneaked into the house. After the person closed the door, it seemed like they caught their breath for a while before entering. She didn't dare to turn on the light, but according to the night vision surveillance footage, we have confirmed that it was her aunt. I saw the red light flickering in her line of sight. and she seemed to have seen some kind of dawn, rushing towards the surveillance camera. Brother, are you there? Help me, I don't want to go to jail, please, I'll never be stubborn again. The air raid shelter was very quiet, and we all clearly heard the voice from the surveillance, and for a moment we were all silent. It turned out that her aunt knew she was being stubborn, but she always thought someone would take care of her, or she didn't think others would do anything to her, and she never changed her temper. Brother, please save me, sister-in-law, Lily, Riley, it's all my fault. Her aunt kept bowing on the ground, still wearing a blood-stained shirt, sweat and blood dripping from her forehead continuously. Dad, Mom, don't be soft-hearted. Aunt is trying to trick us to go there with us to die together. As soon as she approached the screen, I heard the voice, which was completely different from her pitiful tone, as if it came from a devil underground, cold and cruel. Bob, I won't be happy, none of you family will either, you all have to accompany me to hell, but I'm a bit curious about the matter of reincarnation. Why would Aunt hate us so much? The red dot on the monitor was discovered, and she couldn't have come over from far away, so I just turned on the microphone. Aunt, this is Riley, may I ask a question? Upon hearing the voice, Aunt's eyes lit up. Riley, is it Riley? Are you guys coming over? I'm waiting here, I won't go anywhere. Aunt, you don't need to pretend anymore. Are you the one who reincarnated back? After I asked my question, there was silence on the monitor for 5 full minutes. Ha 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 ha, so you also reincarnated, that's why you didn't show up. Aunt changed her attitude, she didn't pretend anymore, sat down right there, and stared at the monitor with a sinister expression. Let me guess who reincarnated. Is it Bob, or Judy, or Lily? Or is it you, Riley? Doesn't matter, you guys are all bad people. Last time I came to PJ Community, I just asked for some food, you guys didn't show up, you couldn't even show your faces, I was raped by a pervert nearby, and then beaten to death. All of you are to blame, you all deserve to die. Aunt was getting more and more excited, pulling her hair as if she was going through a tragedy from another life. I turned to look at my family members, and we all saw a hint of disbelief in each other's eyes. Let's not even talk about whether we would have let our aunt die or not. Even if we really inherited Grandpa's old house, we wouldn't have lived there. Aunt, how can you be sure we were in PJ District? How can I be sure? How else can I be sure? You didn't reply to my messages, and no one answered when I knocked on your door. Even if you told me your house password so I could go in and have something to eat, I wouldn't have ended up in this situation. It's all your fault. After hearing what my aunt said, I suddenly felt a chill down my spine. I couldn't tell how long it had been since my aunt had looked for us when the apocalypse happened. If there was a past life, how long could we have survived if we hadn't been prepared and just stayed at home? She said she sent messages and no one answered, and no one was home when she knocked. Maybe we were already not alive anymore. I shivered. Aunt, this might not be what you think at all. The aunt on the other side of the screen didn't listen to my explanation. She stood up, looking mad. You don't show up doesn't matter. This house is my father's. It was mine in the past life. I won't leave it to you. I'll wait for you in hell. Before I could scream, the aunt had already smashed the monitor, and I could only hear faint sounds through another monitor in the bedroom. It seemed someone had turned on the gas. Mom and Dad quickly used another phone to call the neighbors, notifying those they knew and asking those who answered to knock on the doors of the ones they didn't know. After a while, a loud explosion was heard, and the screen turned black. Do you think the aunt will be reborn this time? My sister's words broke the silence, and we looked at her in disbelief. It's also pitiful for the neighbors nearby. Mom sighed and went back with my dad to the depths of the air raid shelter, leaving me and my sister at the entrance staring blankly at the dark phone screen. PJ, the glass dome of the residential area had a hole, and the outside temperature began to drop steadily. It didn't take more than half a month, and the temperature had already dropped to normal summer levels. Scientists speculated that it might be some substance causing an abnormal rise in temperature, but they haven't reached an accurate conclusion yet. Our family gradually transported the remaining items back to the city, leaving some behind and selling the rest to nearby vendors. Prolonged high temperatures caused the previously stored food to spoil quickly, and now dried products and canned goods are very popular. Our family made a small profit. My grandfather's house was blown up by my aunt. Fortunately, the building was solid, and the aunt didn't leave the gas on for too long. The neighbors also escaped in time. Except for some people being slightly injured, no one was in danger of losing their life. This social disaster didn't last long. Society was somewhat broken, but it was still in a stage that could be salvaged. Most people still followed the law. After taking a shower, I opened the bathroom door and walked out. my sister was sitting on the sofa watching TV, and my mom and dad were busy in the kitchen. It's so good. Our whole family is still here. That's all the story. What do you think of this story? Share with me in the comments section. What would you do if you were in this situation? Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.